Yeah. This is what AI can do to the members of the Archaeological Society. But the Archaeological Society has been in existence for 52 years. It was founded in a pub, the Elphinstone Hotel in Biggar, over a rusty nail. For those who are unfamiliar with drink, it's a mixture of whiskey and drambuie. And I was drinking this concoction with two friends from Forth, and they wanted me to form an archaeological society, so that's what I did. So, a meeting was convened in Lanark Grammar School, and the most famous person in this photograph is not me. It is the lassie seated. I don't know if any of you recognise this person, but Sheena MacDonald, most famous, one of the most famous singers in Scotland, alias Horse. She was one of the original members. And you will recognise several other people. Tom, the back there, a youthful Tom Hislop. And to my right, my great friend, Malcolm Gare. And this is Malcolm with hair. This is a rare photograph. And over on the left is Leonard Gray, and in front of him, the most heavily decorated woman in the history of Scotland, Marguerite Garden. She was given the Légion d'honneur for espionage work, resistance work. And she came to Scotland because she fell in love with a man in his tank. The man in the tank being Dr. Garden, later surgeon, Mr. Garden, surgeon at Wichita. But unfortunately, a lot of the people here have departed. And one of the first digs we did was in the Castle Gate. We got a lot of help over our 52 years from Strathclyde Regional Council, Clydesdale District Council, and today South Lanarkshire Council. All the council have helped us in different ways. We were digging in the Castlegate car park. It did arouse a slight degree of controversy. We were accused of letting rats into the wee mans down the road. One time a laddie appeared at the fence and said, "Hey, miss, have you found anything really horrible?" But generally well supported by the community. Eventually we found some medieval things. Interestingly, we had a load of girl guides who came to help us look for stuff. And the excavation revealed stuff as far back as the Middle Ages. I'm now thinking that all these lasses are probably retired by now. It makes you think. But here is myself looking quite youthful at the age of 28. One of the places near the Castle Gate, which was destroyed, which was demolished to make way for the supermarket, the predecessor of Lidl's, there was a Bastel house, a medieval tower house in what was Vere House. And this is a view of the vaulted ceiling and one of the windows dating back to 16th century. It was built for the Veers of Blackwood. One of the things that we were involved in developing was a manpower services project at Lesmahaga back in the 70s. I found a piece of a Norman doorway, and the results of this excavation could still be seen to this very day. We found a medieval solarium of the Tyrannensian Priory at Lesmahaga, but we also found in another area the remains of some Clydesdale monks who lived here before the priory was founded in 1154. In the excavation of the solarium, we actually found a spigot, i.e. a little tap from a barrel, probably containing some beer, which the monks helped themselves to in this place. One of the things that we have been doing for the past 50-odd years is working at Castle Dykes. And you'll see here the remains of a carnelian piece of carnelian jewellery. It shows the figure of the god Mars. Unfortunately, it came out of a rain. Unfortunately, it's a bit damaged. And on the other side, you can see a belt buckle, a Celtic belt buckle, which is probably better than the sort of trousers you get nowadays, the things for holding trousers together. The people who garrisoned it probably wore leather trousers, and it's done in a Celtic design. The people who were involved in garrisoning Castle Dykes were auxiliary cavalrymen, and they came from southern France, the Isle of Sebosiana, and on the right is one of the bits of horse decoration. You can see something similar behind that shield. They came up with Agricola. One of the things that we've been doing work on Castle Dykes is using modern science, LIDAR. And in the corner of this particular field here, we found the remains that you see over there of a Roman bathhouse. And we found in the field work that we did remains of the roof, the flat tiles and the curved tiles, which were put on top of the roof of the bathhouse. This was, as I say, built after the initial occupation of the area by Agricola and his forces. The numerous camps, and this is the Agricolan fort, where there were several legions and several units of auxiliary cavalrymen in this part of the fort area. And there were various other forts built round about. At least 3 campaign forts, one of Antoninus Pius and another one of probably of Septimius Severus, and maybe yet another one of the late 4th century. Now, Tom here found one of the most important finds in the history of Scotland. Tom found this lead seal with ASEB on it, and this is short for Ala Sebosiana, and that led us to Carlisle, where another friend of mine found letters relating to this unit. and one of the unit was the aide-de-camp to Agricola. And with thus we have names of people who were here at Castle Dykes in AD 79. That is unique in the history of Roman Scotland. And here is Tom, and remember George Hamilton, the barber, and we're up at Wingate. It was the first Basel house we dug. Oh yes, 1997, I took great pleasure in dispelling the Wallace myth. All the things about Wallace being covered in woad and so on, and being married to Miriam Braidfoot, were a total and utter load of junk. Fancy nonsense. And by the way, Mel Gibson never had his wicked way with Edward II's wife, principally because she was only 5 years old in 1297. So that gives you a clue. And the portraits which were done, like the one which was the inspiration for that horrible statue, were as a result of looking at this rather fanciful 17th century portrait. More realistically, this is on the right, is what Wallace may have looked like, equipped with chain mail, and these are reconstructions of the type of shield he had. But most of the time, Wallace preferred using a bow and arrow, which was on his seal. The big sword is rubbish. It was found at Dumbarton Castle and was used in the 16th century to defend the battlements of it. It has as much connection with Wallace as I do. The other type, or the other thing drawn again from a monumental brass, shows the typical clothes that were worn in the period. Mind, Marion Braidfoot didn't exist, but Wallace, according to Blind Harry, did have a fleeting fling with a Lehman, a woman of easy virtue in Lanark. And it does behove people to read the original Blind Harry to get at some of the truth. And towards the end of the Wallace period, towards the end of his life, the English soldiers wore a mixture of chain and plate armour. So this is why I find this so interesting. New Lanark has always been at the hearts. I've taken several aerial photographs of Lanark over a period of time. My first flight was in the late 70s and flew in a Grumman pup, which had been salvaged from Switzerland. And it was galling in a way to see oneself being overtaken on the ground by a Porsche. I sat at the front. There was a little piece of metal which I had to watch because that was the petrol gauge. It was on a cork. So if it went down too low, we were in soapy bubble. But it was great. The second plane, I actually flew the plane from Lanark to Hamilton and back again. Great experience, this flying. When I was first acquainted with New Lanark, it was a sorry place. This is the hotel area. There was a scrappy in there, and he took away a lot of the metal plates from the area of which is now the hotel, in order to make as much money as he could, and the conditions in which the men worked there were truly appalling. One of the things about our acquaintance with New Lanark is, in more recent times, with Mark Stevens, we've been campaigning to preserve the lands around Bonington, and this is an old picture of the Falls of Bonington. You'll probably recognise this one, Graham. And it shows the structure on an island in the middle of the falls. By the way, the whole nature of the falls altered in the late 18th century as a result of terrific storms in that period caused by a volcanic explosion in Iceland. One of the things that I used as an argument was that this was a parliamentary wall. It really wasn't. It was a boundary wall which which had to be erected because to protect the people who were wandering up and down here with their animals to Lanark Market. But certainly it is a fine 18th century wall, and I wanted that to be the end stop of any quarrying and so on. Near Bonington was found a hoard of Edward I's pennies and some of Alexander III, and this is one which is now in the museum in Lanark. It's Edward I's penny from Bristol. You can go and see it if you so desire. This is just a picture of the southern uplands. In this sort of weather, you can find plenty of evidence of the Bronze Age huts and so on the sides of the hills. A little drop of snow does quite a lot of good. You can see some of the depressions here, which are evidence of these huts. It's down towards Abington. The Greyfriars Dig. This was one of our great moments in the late 1990s. The Greyfriars lay chiefly under the Clydesdale Hotel. I'm just going to take a seat a moment. There'd been a dig which the west of Scotland archaeological people had done, but actually they made a bit of a mess of it, and they got £2,000 for digging a hole with a JCB, not bothering to clear the sides of the trench, let alone the bottom of the trench. We came along and found material, and we dug along the side of the path leading down to the Cox's yard, and we found amazing amount of stuff, including a clasp of a medieval prayer book and a little piece of Syrian glass dating back to the 13th or 14th century. And then down with that chap's digging, we found evidence of leather working. Here is Western Henge. We visit numerous places doing field walking. We found flints and so on round this place. It's quite a noticeable henge monument, and Tam Ward did some digging around here and found a lot of prehistoric stuff. one of the areas that we dug was a site that had been started off by one of these archaeological units on top of Cairngrive Hill. Cairngrive Hill was first excavated by Gordon Childe, the most famous Scottish prehistorian of the pre-war years, and he proved that it was an Iron Age fort, but we took it back right to the Neolithic. We found also Bronze Age material. We found, for example, little bits of a Bronze Age necklace made out of circular discs of cannel coal, which is similar to jet. Very important dig that was, our most important prehistoric dig that we ever did. One of the early digs that we did, and Malcolm played a crucial part in this, was Lanark Castle. And here is a sketch that Malcolm did. He did a lot of sketches of one sort and another about different places in Lanark. One of the things that Malcolm reckoned was there was a tower in the centre of what is now the Bowling Green, but unfortunately a lot of damage was done to it when it was made into a bowling green. One of the things that caused damage to it was before the bowling green was the surface of the moat was scarped off even during the 16th century. They used to have, in the times of the religious troubles in the 1580s, meeting of the equivalent of Lanark's Home Guard. They were rather like the guys shown in the painting done by Rembrandt of the Town Guard, who spent a lot of their time drinking rather than doing much else. They were very ill-equipped, and they only had a couple of guns between them, but they had pitchforks and so on to protect Lanark. Another thing that Malcolm drew was the toll booth, and it was called the toll booth because in the ground floor it had booths or shops, and the upper part was where the business of the town was enacted, and nearby there will be a weighing machine and there will be the town cross, of which a portion survives to this very day. Here we have another one of the stars of our society, namely Paul. And this, I don't know how Lisa saw this, but we had a lot of the finds out in Paul's front room. Opposite Paul is Alan Wishart, another friend of mine. Forget the name of the other guy. Do you remember? But
they were there because I cleaned them all.
Yeah, and by the way, there were well over 1,000 pieces of pottery, not to mention the animal bones. And we found that some of the animal bones, including evidence of skinning cats, because the friars used to use the cat's fur to edge their gowns, you know, they like to use cat's fur because that was the cheapest thing available. We also found that they liked eating oysters as well, freshwater oysters from the Clyde. And you see on the left the wall of the cloister of the Greyfriars. We found lead pipe going underneath the wall, which was the first evidence of piped water in Lanark. Ah, yes, here it is, the good man himself, Tom. And Tom has just found a piece of a chafing dish. It's a sort of thing used in cooking. This was one of the items left behind by the official archaeologists. And the other person, some of you will remember, is Davy, Davy Brown. Yeah. Shoemaker of this town. Amazing guy. We also dug behind one of the houses in Broomgate, and some of you will remember the McCormicks. We also have a dog supervising the dig. This was not far from the Greyfriars, and we found a lot of medieval pottery in this dig. Nearby in the Broomgate Cafe, we actually found some medieval tiles from the friary, which are in the museum. One of our most momentous things was the Lanark Air Show. We initiated that and in 2010, and I got a copy of the official program, and I've collected many postcards, and it was a fantastic show. They had, I think, was it 330,000?
Oh, it was 200, so just over $250,000.
In a week.
In 6 days.
Yeah. And they came by train. They even had special first class trains coming to Lanark. And the whole thing was organised in 6 months. This postcard is not a picture of planes in the sky. It is a makey-uppy postcard. But loads of postcards were sold. And here you can see a sign for them. And Paul's ancestors, the Archaebalds, were on site selling sweets. Did they sell soft drinks?
No, I think Koyas would probably be doing that. We were sweets.
And here is Bertram Dixon. He was a Scottish aviator. He and Lionel James put forward a recommendation to the army that they should get hold of planes. And the result of their report, the Royal Engineers purchased 68 Bristol planes, and they were of a type called the Farman, and they formed the nucleus of the first Air Force, as it was for spotting and this sort of thing. Later on, that became the Royal Flying Corps, and then after that, the RAF. By the way, at Cranwell, they still have a trophy called the Dixon Trophy for the best cadet. So we are justifiably proud in our links with founding the RAF. We've worked a lot with bigger archaeology, and one time none of us went down to Dar. It was warmer in Siberia that day, but Tam still had people out digging. There was nothing that could stop Tam. Weather was not a deterrent. One of the things that we have been involved in is the Covenanters Monument and getting that refurbished. Did that in 2024. Here is Adam doing some research in Alva. thanks to volunteers like Adam, Marianne and others, and Finlay, and just to name a few, that we've made a lot of progress in getting a lot of information together. And if you want to help us, please see Robin, and we'll organise for a time for you to come and A, visit the collections, and B, give us a hand with archiving, recording the finds, photographing them. There's an awful lot of work to do. And here we are in Alvo, where we were based for many years. This is a view of another site we helped, bigger archaeology, and that was a Neolithic site at Anniston, not far from the quarry in that area. Some of you may distantly remember Phil Taylor at Geordie. This was another Bastel house not far from Elsrickle. This is just a general aerial view of the southern uplands. One of the places that we dug as part of a TV thing of digging small trenches, remember they wanted community archaeology to investigate places. We went to Burke Hill, which is not far from Goulburn and dates back to the 17th century. We had an interest in digging the garden there. And there's John McCormick, and John and his family were very prominent in helping us at that period in time. We've also been round town photographing old buildings like the old smithy that you see here, which I think was part of Gilroy's, not?
No.
What was it?
Just a smithy.
Just a smithy.
Always a smithy.
Always a smithy.
Gilroy's was further up the hill.
Okay. So, just we'll have Paul here. And detecting has been an important thing. And here is a ring that I found, which is now in the museum. Could have belonged to a bishop. It was found at the bishop's castle at Carstairs. Has on it Jesus N, which transliterates as Jesus the Nazarene. And in between each letter is a primrose. And a primrose is a symbol of eternal life. We are still very active in the community, and thanks to Robin, Bo, Steph, we had a roadshow in Abington, and the community loved that. And trips are an important thing to us. This is a trip we did to Dryborough because of its relationship with our ruined parish church of St Kentigern. And that is it. So that gives you a wee idea. I just have put together these slides to give you a flavour of what we've been up to. I couldn't go into everything as we'll be still here next month, but I hope you appreciated it, and that is that. But I've enjoyed the past 52 years.